Okay, now let's proceed to our second topic, and that will be on rocks and minerals. Rocks and minerals. Okay, so let us begin with distinguishing between rocks and minerals. And I'm going to ask you if you know the difference. On that. So I will be flashing like there will be pictures of either rocks or minerals, and you're going to identify this as rocks and minerals by writing R or M in the chat box. So there will be six photos, so I'll be numbering them, ha. So that's one, this is number two, this is number three, this is number four, this is five, and this is six. All right, so in the chat box, by number, write R for rock or M for mineral. And let's try to see if kanang ma-distinguish ba nato kung rock ba siya or mineral just by its face value, just by looking at it. Okay? So go ahead, you may answer. So sorry, I'm chatting with Miss Mantilia. Anyway, so, ano yung mga answer? Okay, ako na to, ha? Okay, ganan ko kay, it's very varied. Excellent. So, there is variation. So, what nakabalo kung unsa jud ang saktor sang dili. Okay, so let's begin with number one. This is a mineral. Number two, this is a rock. Na, number three, tanawa kung correct yung mga answer, ha. Number three, this is a rock. Number four, this is a mineral. Charot. Number five, this is a mineral. Okay, tao na to yung mga answer. Okay, okay. Number six, this is a mineral gihapon. If you got everything correct, congratulations. You are an expert. Char lang, joke lang. Okay, gadget lang ha, kay koan. Na white screen ako siya. All right. So, as you can see here, actually, makita jud nimo ang difference ni rock ug ni mineral even at first glance. So, of all the kanang gimarkahan ako minerals, unsa ilahang mga distinct qualities di ay?
Shiny.
Shiny, shimmering, splendid. Okay? What else? Unsa pa ang difference nila? Unsa pa ilang
Ma'am,
difference?
na-value.
High value. Wala na value ang rock. Transparent. Yes, I like your answer. Transparent. But there are also minerals nga dili transparent, ha? But most of them are transparent. They are. What else? So, katong, sa to? Light. Di ba nag-mention mo light and then transparent siya. Okay. Sa pa?
Guapa.
Guapa! How do you know it's guapa? Okay, di ba attractive kayo siya, especially kini number 6, di ba? These are diamonds, no? Mahal kayo niya siya kung magpalit pog engagement ring para sa inyong babe. My God, and mag-demand inyong babe og ikuan ka ng diamond engagement ring. Hilak na lang jud ta. Solid ang rock, like solid, solid. What does that mean? What does that mean? Anyway, so let's begin talking about the minerals first. Nga naman, because actually minerals, without minerals, there will be no rocks. That's it. So minerals are inorganic, naturally occurring, crystalline substance. When you say inorganic, that means it is not alive. No, it is not alive. It's not breathing, but not all living things breathe. So uh, it's not a living thing. It's naturally occurring because it can be seen, it can be observed, it can occur in natural settings. No, but there are also minerals that can be grown in the laboratory, or they are what you call as synthetic minerals, and they are crystalline in substance. What does that mean? It has something to do with their atomic structure. Like for example, naatay comparison here between the formation of atoms, so crystalline substance, and also the non-crystalline substances. If you're going to observe in substances, ang formation sa ilang atoms is not uniform at all. It's not consistent. It's not uniform. Therefore, it is sort of unstable physically unstable. What does that mean? Tanawa naman ng building. If ang first floor sa imong building kay rectangle, then ang second floor nimo kay pina circle, then ang third floor nimo kay pina pyramid, then ang fourth floor nimo kay pina hexagon, lahi-lahi siya shapes. Di ba unstable na siya? It will be unstable. Punay earthquake, diretso na siya hugdo. Ana siya. That is true for your non-crystallines, no? But for the crystallines, the formation of the atoms, or the way that the atoms bond in minerals, is very uniform. Therefore, ang ilang foundation is also uniform, like our buildings here in the Philippines. So most of our buildings here are just really simple rectangles because it's the most secure and the most efficient of them. So it's boring, yes, but it is most efficient and it is most stable. So kining yung mga minerals ko ani sila no, kanang gahi ni sila no, kanang medyo ano ni sila no, kanang mayo kani sila o kanang qualities, physical qualities. Like for example, your diamond is actually like the hardest substance here on earth. It's very difficult for you to scratch a diamond or even to grind it into powder. It's not that easy. So some of the physical characteristics of your minerals are the following. Like your minerals have a distinct shape to them, and they're quite hard. They're hard to scratch. They're hard to grind. So they have a certain level of hardness. Their color and their luster is very unique because most of them are transparent, but some of them are opaque and as colorful as this bismuth mineral right here. And then cleavage. Ang cleavage gali is when you break that mineral, how does it break? No? Like for example, inani fractals. Di fractals. Okay, fractals is more of the ice manggod. But it's like this, so kanang straight siya, straight edge, and even the sides of it is really fine and straight. So walay crumble din ha siya. And then its tendency to fracture. Like for example, if the mineral falls from a certain height no and falls to the ground, does it fracture like a rock, like mag-crumble siya or unsa ba? So ibang minerals dili in ani clean ang iyahang breaks, very clean and very sharp. And lastly, their specific gravity. They have a relatively high specific gravity, but it is not correlated, or dili siya mag-correlate sa size sa imong mineral. It doesn't mean nga dako ang mineral, dako sa diyang specific gravity. It has something to do with their density. So if it has something to do with their density, it has something to do with the raw materials or the materials that this mineral is made of. That's what it means. No? So mo na imuhang specific gravity. Now, your minerals also has these chemical properties. Like for example, your minerals will um one of the chemical properties of minerals is solubility. I kind of lost my train of thought there. It refers to the ability of a substance to dissolve in a solvent at a specified temperature, and your melting point refers to the temperature at which solid turns into liquid. And there are a number of your minerals, they're really strong minerals that actually have very high melting points. So here are the most common mineral groups here in our planet. You have your silicates, which are made on, and kini siya kini mga silicates, they're very common, just like your sand. Kana siya, these are silicates, no? Kanang sand nimo. Oxides are made up of oxygen, of course, and your carbonates are made of carbon. So this is an example of your carbonate, kining calcite, which is carbon, I say carbon, calcium carbonate, and then you have your silicate, of which ang what do you call this? Example na ko diri is your olivine. It's called an olivine because it is color green. It looks like an olive, no? And then, of course, your under the silicates would be your quartz. Your quartz is the one that we use sa inyong mga fancy jewelry, kanang yung mga earrings and yung mga bracelets, no, na naay mga quote-unquote jamon, pero mga di na siya jamon kay kung jamon is very expensive man. So kani siya ang ginagamit niya, the quartz. Let's proceed to the rocks, no? Rocks, as I've said, cannot exist without minerals because rocks are actually aggregates of minerals, meaning they are a combination of many minerals. Like for example, imong granite. Granite can be seen in a lot of yung kanabitang mga expensive na balay, kanang countertops na mga countertops sa mga expensive na houses. Or if you go to the main campus sa inyong eskwelahan, adto mo sa Rodelsa Hall, adto mo sa registrars and the finance department, ang countertops na nila is made of granite. Granite, the reason why granite has three colors in it, brown, white, and black, it's because it is a combination of three minerals, no? Your quartz, your feldspar, and your biotite. Now, I'll not talk about that anymore. There are three kinds of rocks, or three types of rocks. You have your igneous rocks, your sedimentary rocks, and your metamorphic rocks. So let us begin with your igneous rocks. Igneous rocks are actually made up of cold and solidified molten rock material. They can either be made of magma or lava. The difference between magma and lava? Well, they are the same. Essentially, they are the same. It's just that the location varies, no? Magma is found below the Earth's surface and lava is found at the surface of the Earth. Bali, nag-erupt na ang volcano, maunay na siya ang lava. So, as you can see here, there are two categories of igneous rocks. You have your extrusive and your intrusive rocks. What do you mean by extrusive? Meaning, sa gawas siya nag-cool. Okay? Nagbugnaw ang imong molten rock material sa crust. So that's why it is usually called as volcanic rock. Okay? So extrusive na siya. So it is made up of lava. Okay. Intrusive rocks, on the other hand, so paano palang in, no? It means it is cooled down below the Earth's surface. So intrusive rocks nimo are made of magma and they're also known as plutonic rocks. So mag-differ sila kung asa sila gikan, ha? It's just that ang ilaring physical appearance would be affected due to that, okay? So ang extrusive rocks nimo, because they cool down dinhi na sa surface of the earth, which is the coolest part of all the structures of all the internal structure of the earth. It means that it is rapid cooling. Dali siya nagbugnaw. Now, because of that fact na dali siya mabugnaw, your extrusive rocks really don't have time to create crystals. So that is why your extrusive rocks will have fine crystals, gagmay nga crystals, no? Because again, they don't really have time to recrystallize because rapid cooling man imo ang extrusive rocks. Your intrusive rocks, on the other hand, because they're made of magma, and magma is found beneath the Earth's surface, the rocks will be slow cooling. Hinay siya mabugnaw. Therefore, these intrusive rocks will have more time to recrystallize. That is why your intrusive rocks are characterized by coarse crystals, meaning dagko ang iyang crystals. So that is the difference between your extrusive and your intrusive rocks. Now, kindly tell me if this is an intrusive rock or an extrusive rock. So, per number, kindly write letter I or letter E in the chat box. I for intrusive, E for extrusive. Okay, 1 and 2. Asa si X, asa si in. Okay, hala, ganahan ko ana kay Laylay lang answer. Muna kong ganahan. That's what I like. Char lang. Mm-hmm. 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 Betul eh. Okay. Thank you very much for your answers. Okay, number one is extrusive. Correct. Because this is actually basalt, no? This is the kind of rock that you can find at the seabed. And then number two is intrusive. Well done, everyone. Actually, naiusar ka buok na wrong, pero you know who you are. I'll not pinpoint who you are. All right. How about this one? This is one and two. One, and this is two. Okay, tell me. Mm-hmm. I think it's very obvious. Gabi kayo ka pangka ihang crystals, right? So number one is intrusive, yeah. And number two is extrusive. And lastly, this one. This is number one, and this is number two. Okay. All right. Okay, let's see. Number one is extrusive, okay, and number two is intrusive. All right. To those who got all correct answers, clap your hands. One, two, three. Charot lang. Okay, congratulations. You fully understood the difference between the two. In face value lang. Okay. Now let us proceed to sedimentary rocks. Kayong sedimentary rocks are actually derived from sediments, no? Bali mga loose accumulation of unconsolidated fragments. So for example, bitaw kung sa bukid, let's say nagka-landslide dadto or naabay heavy rainfall. So kanang mga falls na gikan sa bukid, waterfalls gikan sa bukid, sometimes it will bring rocks, dagko nga rocks, and then eventually when it reaches downtown, abot na siya og Cagayan de Oro, let's say, gamay na lang na siya, kaan na lang na siya kanang fragments na lang na siya. And when you see these rocks by the riverbeds of Cagayan de Oro, they, as time goes by, they will aggregate with one another, mag-join forces na ang mga ginagmay nga rocks, and then it will undergo cementation, and they will become other rocks. Ang sedimentary rocks nimo. So that process basically is called diagenesis, and it has four main parts. You have your compaction, cementation, recrystallization, and chemical changes such as redox reactions. So we're not going to go in depth on this, but I think it's nice to know that naana siya ng mga processes, no? You have two kinds of sedimentary rocks. You have your clastics, and then you also have your non-clastics. Ang clastic sedimentary rocks, they are actually formed from pre-existing rocks, shells, or bones, or what you call as inorganic materials, meaning these are materials that have these materials that are non-living things in present or at present or even in the past. So again, they're made of ito ka ng behind bitaw sa rebulto ni Mama Mary, Mama Mary, then naaday kanang falls na water, then kanang iyang likod nga decoration. You can actually also see this at the riverbeds, no, kining shale. So your shale is actually made of clay, and when it hardens, it goes through diagenesis, it will become shale. If clay undergoes diagenesis, it will eventually become shale. Non-classic sedimentary rocks, on the other hand, are actually made from organic materials. Bale, mga things that were alive or animals or whatever plants that were alive before now. So a good example of that is your limestone, which is actually made from calcium deposits of dead animals, no? So kining particular example right here, this is the Cote d'Ivoire. Am I pronouncing that correctly? I don't know. Cote d'Ivoire or the Ivory Coast by the I don't know where in France. I'm not sure where, but in France and also in the United Kingdom. So naana siya. It's very wide, 'di ba? It's very wide. Because kini siya, it is thought that this part of France and the United Kingdom was once underwater. So naada na ang mga dead animals sa una. So these are other examples of your sedimentary rocks. You have your shale, which is made of clay. You have your coal, which is made of plants, dead plants, that is, dead plants that have been dead for a very long time. Kana siya. Your sandstone, which is made of sand, and also your limestone, which is made of calcium deposits. And then lastly, we have your metamorphic rocks. Sa pangalan pala ng metamorphic rocks, meaning they have undergone metamorphosis. What is metamorphosis? That is, metamorphosis is transformation, no? So, bale, mura ko ka ng inyong butterfly, before a butterfly became a butterfly, nagsugod sa na siya as caterpillar, then nahimo siyang pupa, then nahimo siyang butterfly. Diba, inana? That's change, that's transformation. Metamorphic rocks, on the other hand, dili on the other hand, but metamorphic rocks similarly, they have undergone change. No, change. Why? Why did they change? Because they have been through a lot of heat and a lot of pressure. Because when things are kind of itong naagian o grabe nga extreme heat ang sa kabutang, mag-change na iyang chemical composition. So there will be change there. And then if there is so much pressure, naasay change sa ilahang physical na anyo. Mura kog ikaw, mura kog kita, if we have been pressured so much and we have been in heat a lot, like kanang kuan kita, kanang we have been through a lot of stress lately, kung bata pa mo at this age in anak lugar. So when you grow old, kuan na dire siya, you become stronger. Mo nang ang metamorphic rocks are actually more compact, they're harder, and they have reoriented crystalline structure, and as a result are more resistant to weathering because they've been through so much, no? Initan na sila, napay pressure nga bonggang-bongga kaayo. So, they have been through a lot. So, this one, kaning heat and pressure actually causes foliation in your rocks. So, imong metamorphic rocks dayon as a result will it will be divided into your foliated and non-foliated rocks. But before that, let us talk about the kanang ways in which your rocks can undergo metamorphism. So first is it can recrystallize. Okay, recrystallization basically occurs when small crystals of one mineral will slowly convert to fewer, larger crystals of the same mineral without melting the rock. Okay, so daghan nahimo nga crystals pero ginagmay lang sila. Neomorphism, on the other hand, neo as in new, no, is a process whereby minerals not only recrystallize but also form different minerals. Okay, so lahi na mga minerals different from that of the original ones from the same chemical elements. Bali, nag-rearrange lang imuhang chemical elements in a given chemical formula of your rock. Nag-rearrange lang din sila. Okay, again, they've been through heat and pressure man. And lastly, we have your metasomatism. It is the addition or loss of electrons and elements. New materials form with only some. Dili mo akong pagkat sa akong sentence. It is the addition of new minerals form with only some of the original elements. So naay new, pero naay nangabilin na original. Inana ang metasomatism. So you have two types of metamorphism. You have your contact metamorphism wherein naka-localize lang siya. So ang mga metamorphic rocks kay they will only occur along the fracture of the earth. So na ay magma chamber ni Saka. So metamorphism dala kay naara din hisa ka ng iyang mga kilid-kilid ana duol lang kaayo. Regional metamorphism, on the other hand, dako kay ang fracture. Dako kaayo ang burial. So there will be like a lot of rock that will be affected. So that's why it's called regional in the first place. All right. So As I've said, there are two kinds of metamorphic rocks. You have your foliated, meaning, unsay pasabutan na, naa siya'y layers, no? It has layers, just like this rock right here, kining gneiss, naa siya'y layers diri. Now, naa siya'y layers because it has been exposed to a lot of heat, therefore, naay recrystalline or any of the three processes that I mentioned kaganina. And then, naada yung layers because of the pressure, no? Kining layers kay naa siya pressure, ang layers niya are produced by two pressures. Naay pressure din nasa pressure din sa ubos. Ay na. So, iyang i-flatten, maunang naada yun siya linya-linya. So, inana siya. So, that is your foliated metamorphic rocks. Remember, foliation means layers. Non-foliated metamorphic rocks, on the other hand, has no layers or banding. Why is that the case? Because instead na ang pressure kay it comes from two opposing sides, the pressure will come on different sides. Okay? Anywhere ang origin sa pressure kay anywhere. That is why ang if makakita mo marble nga rock no, kuan na siya kanang white siya din naa din gagmay na mga black ana. It's because the pressure is not really in one direction or a direction and it's opposite direction. No, it comes from all around. So man na imong non-foliated metamorphic rocks. Now, here are some examples of the progression of your foliation, no? From fine to medium to coarse. Dagko na dayon ang mga layers. For the non-foliated ones, your limestone, when it is exposed to a lot of heat and pressure, eventually will become marble. Your sandstone, when exposed to a lot of heat and pressure, will eventually become quartzite. So, magmetamorphose na sila. All right? So that'll be all for the rocks. Let us check if you understood what we've learned in rocks and minerals so far. Okay, in the chat box, kindly write T for true and F for false per item. Number one, a mineral is a naturally occurring substance. Is it toro or false? Lang ha, I'm responding to a message. All right, number one is naturally occurring. Correct ba ni? True ba ni? Yes, this is true. Ayan. Number two, talc can scratch diamonds. Talc? What is talc? Any idea? What is talc? Talc is kanang baby powder. Kana. Kayo, kana nasa pulbos. Correct. So, it's easily grindable. Dali siya mag-grind, no? So, in that case, and you know this already, that diamonds are like the hardest substances sa ato ang planeta or sa ato ang Earth, no? So, it's very hard to scratch this. So, this is false. And lastly, a huge mineral has high specific gravity. So, answer ani? Number three. Number three.
True.
True. Uh-huh. Okay. Ala, ganan ko kay naasay nag-false o naay nag-true, naay nag-false. So, ano ang totoo? Ano ang totoo? Sino ang nasa bangin? Just kidding. I'm kidding. Pulse. Pulse. So actually, remember what I said about specific gravity? Specific gravity is very dependent on density. So, ang density is only dependent on the type of material that an object or a thing has, no? So, something like for example, usa ka inani nga size nga cotton versus inani nga size nga gold. Oo, pareho sa size. But kinsa may mas bugat na kinsa mas dense, 'di ba ang gold? Oo. So, size does not matter when you talk about density. So, the specific gravity is not proportional to that of the size of the mineral. Therefore, what is the answer here? It is what? It is false.
False.
Oo. So, bala kung saan na siya kadako. Kung ang iyang components na niya is not really, ang iyang atomic mass na niya is not really that high, it's not really that big, then dili siya very dense. Therefore, yung specific gravity is not really that big. So that's it. Alright? So, mora na siya for rocks and minerals. That's basically it for this afternoon.